The sequel to Tesla's AI Day, the second annual industry showcase of the company's bleeding-edge technology, is coming this month. On September 30th, we get to see what the smartest people on Tesla's payroll have been up to for the past year. The first AI Day was a pretty mind-blowing event, mostly because this is not information for the general consumer like you and me. It's not marketing. AI Day is specifically targeted at professionals in the machine learning and artificial intelligence industry. That's the technical level that they speak at, and the rest of us have to desperately push our feeble brains to try and keep up. It's exhilarating to watch. All we know from Elon is his promise of, quote, so many cool updates, and that leaves a lot to the imagination. So, last year, we learned all about how a self-driving Tesla actually sees the world, and that was really fascinating. What reaches the computer brain isn't 8 separate camera feeds. The software actually creates a real-time, 3-dimensional vector space that's like a singular bird's eye view of the world, and then the car drives in the vector space. Then we learned all about Tesla's concept for the Dojo supercomputer, using tiles made up of 25 individual system-on-a-chip computers interlinked at ultra-high bandwidth on a piece of hardware that supports its own dedicated power delivery and cooling system, and then interlinking dozens of those tiles to create the most powerful AI training computer in the world. And then Elon Musk announced that he was building a humanoid robot that would replace human labor for all of the jobs that are boring and dangerous, and that would usher in a golden age of humanity where we all do what we want to do and everyone is wealthy and happy. So, that begs the question, what the hell is Tesla going to follow that up with? Let's talk about it. We're all kind of expecting Tesla's humanoid robot prototype, nicknamed Optimus, to be the star of the show this year, and that's mostly on the account of Elon Musk hyping it up so much. Elon said that he specifically delayed the AI Day event this year from August to September in order to give his people more time to get a functioning prototype of the Tesla bot ready to show off. And then they started marketing the event with an image of 2 robot hands forming the shape of a heart. So, clearly the robot is getting top bill. Last year, the promotional image for AI Day was the deconstructed renderings of the Dojo computer tile. At the time, no one really knew what that was. We figured it was some kind of computer chip, but it was hard to get the sense of scale or really comprehend what we were looking at. And that was all thoroughly explained to us during the presentation. So, it's now very likely that we will get a similarly thorough explanation of the Tesla bot system at AI Day this year. And we're not talking about just the robotic aspects of the machine. This isn't Robotics Day, it's AI Day. Throwing my own speculation into the ring here, I want to hear more about the Tesla bot's brain than I do about the actuators and servos. My biggest anticipation here is that we get a demonstration of the true functionality of the Tesla bot's AI system, having it respond to commands and conversations from real people and execute tasks and movements on request. If Tesla can have some random dude from the audience ask the bot to do something, and then it does the thing, or even ask it a complex question and then get an intelligent response, that's what I want to see. At this point, a lot of people can make a robot. I want to see Tesla make a genuine artificial humanoid. For example, we just saw a Chinese cell phone company, Xiaomi, release their version of a humanoid robot last month. They call it Cyber 1. Basically, it hobbled out onto the stage like a 90-year-old man, lifted a flower in its mitten-shaped fingerless hand, and then rattled off some cheesy pre-recorded dialogue before shambling back off stage. It was pretty lame overall, but I guess still somewhat impressive from a company that makes bargain bin smartphones to turn out a robot. So, Tesla has to do better than that. Much better. Like, I don't expect to see the Tesla bot breakdance or do parkour or any stupid thing like that, but I do need to see some practical functionality here, especially since Elon has been touting this as Tesla's next big product. He wants to manufacture these bots at high volume, and from the way he talks about it, he wants to start doing that pretty soon. And that means that Tesla resources that could have gone into building more Cybertrucks or semi-trucks or upgrading the Model Y, those are being diverted into droid production. So I think it's reasonable for us to have high expectations here. Also wanted to give a quick shout out to our amazing Discord community. Here is our question of the week, and this was our favorite answer. And here is the meme of the week winner. Join our Discord community to participate next week through the link in the description below. Obviously, we are going to hear about full self-driving and autonomy at AI Day again this year. We want to know what amount of progress has been made. Judging by the FSD beta videos that have been streaming out to YouTube and our own experience with FSD beta here on the Tesla Space team, the software is getting much better. It definitely still tries to kill the user at random intervals, but those occasions are getting fewer and further between. So I would love to see how they are doing that behind the scenes. Like, what is the internal process of making the system get smarter and learn how to handle these complex driving tasks, like the big unprotected left turns and traffic circles? Situations that the cars were failing miserably at a year ago, they can now handle with reasonable confidence. Last year, we saw how Tesla was using virtual simulations to further train the vehicle AI. They would basically create a photorealistic 3D world where they could put the car through edge cases that were highly unlikely to happen in real life, but the car still needs to have a point of reference for, just in case, like a herd of moose trampling down the road or an airplane landing in the middle of the highway. We also know that Tesla is developing their full self-driving hardware version 4. This was something Elon talked about at AI Day last year, and he kind of hinted that the new hardware suite would roll out with Tesla's next generation of vehicles, like the Cybertruck. The idea is that hardware 4 will have upgraded cameras for the vision-based AI. We know that Tesla has removed radar from the sensor suite for FSD and relies only on camera vision, so it would make sense to upgrade the cameras. And we know that Tesla has struck a deal with Samsung for some high-end camera sensors that should boost resolution, but more importantly, I'd be expecting the new sensors to have improved low-light performance and extended dynamic range. So if you do any kind of photography, then you know that getting a clear image in the dark is very tricky with a cheap, low-grade image sensor. You just get a lot of digital noise and very little definition. The same goes for trying to get an image in very bright sunlight. It can be difficult for a low-grade camera to capture detail in both the highlight area and the shadow areas at the same time. That is dynamic range. Hopefully, these Samsung cameras can improve on that, and it should help the cars to see much better in all scenarios. And of course, we are expecting hardware 4 to come with an upgraded computer for faster processing. Obviously, we all know Tesla's old promise from 2016 that every car they build will have the full capability for autonomous driving. And I still think that is true. I have no doubt that even my 2018 Model 3 could drive fully autonomously with the right software. But I'm sure that a 2023 Cybertruck with brand new hardware would do it even better and safer, which is exactly what we should be striving for. And speaking of new computers, there is obviously going to be news this year on Project Dojo, Tesla's bespoke AI training machine learning supercomputer. When we left off at AI Day last year, the company had the D1 chip finalized, and they had even gotten the first tile of 25 interconnected chips to function just the night before the event. But that is still a long way from having a fully functional training computer that is ready to tackle billions of frames of video data from Tesla vehicles all around the world. We know that Dojo is not fully functional yet, and we know that Tesla is still mostly reliant on their GPU-based supercomputer rig, because they just bought a giant batch of NVIDIA A100 chips in August that brings their total up to 7,360 GPUs, making Tesla's current training computer among the top 7 most powerful in the world. And that's what Dojo has to beat. It is possible for sure. Dojo is purpose-built for AI training and machine learning, which gives it a major advantage over a traditional supercomputer and a GPU-based rig, because those are multi-purpose chips. The D1 is not a GPU. It's a system on a chip. It's very similar to an Apple M1 that you'd find in their latest series of laptops and the new Mac Studio computers. Actually, the Mac Studio does a similar thing to Dojo in that it links multiple M1 chips together to amp up the power. The M1 Ultra chip is 2 M1 Maxes interconnected with ultra-high bandwidth at 2.5 terabytes per second. One Dojo tile uses 25 D1 chips interconnected with 9 terabytes per second of bandwidth. So, of course, we are pretty curious to see what they can do when they start linking multiple tiles together and running some training algorithms. Last year, the Dojo team showed us their project capability at the exapod level, and that refers to 1 exaflop of processing power, which is 10 to the power of 18 calculations per second, which is 10 with 18 zeros behind it, whatever that number is called, which would put it on par with the human brain at the neural level. So far, I think only one other computer in the world is operating at this scale, and it's not a dedicated AI training computer. So, Dojo has some very powerful potential. I highly doubt that we will see an exapod-level Dojo system at AI Day this year, but I am expecting to see a cabinet of at least a dozen tiles functioning and get some numbers on what capability the system has reached. And, more importantly, find out what Dojo is contributing right now to Tesla's FSD development and what they expect it to be doing over the year to come. Or maybe Tesla will whip out an exascale supercomputer. We can't fully count that out. But those are just our predictions. Obviously, this is something that we can speculate on all day long, so let's keep the conversation going in the comment section down below or on our Discord server. What do you all think that we'll be seeing at AI Day this month? Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up today if you liked it. That is so important for getting our content out to more people. If you enjoy the content, then you'd probably also enjoy our weekly newsletter, so sign up with the link down below at theteslaspace.com. A huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters who are listed on the screen now. You help us make the best content we can, and we really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.